Hello, my name is Isabella Angulo, and today I'm going to be speaking about the case of Cyntoia Brown. I decided to name my project Trafficked, Silenced, Sentenced: The Injustice Behind Cyntoia Brown's Case. A case overview. Cyntoia Brown is a very powerful example of how hypersexualization, racial bias, and structural flaws make Black women and girls vulnerable. When she was just 16 years old, Cyntoia was trafficked by a man named Gary L. McLaughlin, also known as Cutthroat. He not only abused her, but also forced her into prostitution. In 2004, during an attempted sexual assault, Cyntoia shot and killed McLaughlin. She said it was in self-defense, but instead of the court treating her as a victim, Cyntoia was charged as an adult and sentenced to life in prison, with no possibility of release. She had been a child victim of human trafficking, yet the system treated her like a criminal. After 15 years in prison, Cyntoia was granted clemency in 2019 following widespread public outcry and advocacy. Hypersexualization and racial bias. Cyntoia's case illustrates a disturbing pattern, which is the adultification of Black girls. This is the perception that Black girls are less innocent, more mature, and more accountable for their actions than white girls. Despite being just 16 years old and a trafficking victim, Cyntoia was tried as an adult. She wasn't seen as a survivor. She was treated like a threat. This is part of a larger trend rooted in racial bias. Black girls are often denied the protections normally given to youth because society sees them differently. Hypersexualization also played a very major role. Black girls are frequently viewed as sexually available, as if they're not worthy of empathy, protection, or care. In Cyntoia's case, these harmful stereotypes were used to justify her punishment. This isn't just about one courtroom. This is about the media, schools, systems that erase the Black girlhood and uphold injustice. Systemic failures. Cyntoia Brown's case also exposed major failures in the criminal justice system. She was a human trafficking victim, a child being exploited, but the legal system didn't treat her that way. Affirmative defense laws, which allow trafficking victims to present evidence of their abuse, were not applied. Instead of seeing her as a survivor, the court sentenced her as an adult. This is part of a broader issue: how Black girls are criminalized far more often than they are protected. The justice system also lacked trauma-informed approaches. It didn't take into account how trauma and abuse affect a young person's behavior and decisions. Without these protections, the system punished the victim and failed her completely. Some proposed solutions. There are clear and urgent solutions to these injustices. Here are some: legal reforms, training and education, and community-based support. For legal reforms, use and enforce affirmative defense laws so that trafficking survivors can show how their abuse shaped their actions. Ensure safe harbor laws are applied to minors in commercial sexual exploitations, treating them as victims and not criminals. As for training and education, train police officers, attorneys, and social workers on the complexities of human trafficking. Include specific instructions on the unique vulnerabilities faced by Black women and girls. Community-based support. Fund and support organizations that provide culturally sensitive services, including mental health care, legal aid, and education for survivors. These reforms aren't optional. They're necessary to build a justice system that actually delivers justice. In conclusion, the case involving Cyntoia Brown highlights the urgent need to address the interplay between racial bias, hypersexualization, and structural failures in the way Black women and girls are treated in the context of human trafficking. This case is a perfect example on the injustice that there is in our justice system. Cyntoia should have never been treated the way she was. She should have never been in prison for that long, or in general, because she was simply defending herself. However, the courts saw her as a threat and as a murderer, and not for what really happened to her. They put aside all the trauma and terrible experiences that she had, and that needs to be changed in society because she is not the only person that this has happened to. It continues to happen to Black women and girls around the world, especially here in America. With this, we can establish a more equitable and encouraging atmosphere for survivors by making legislative changes and offering focused training and assisting neighborhood-based projects. I believe everyone should learn about this case and would learn a lot about this case and just about how our justice system is today. And hopefully there is change coming forward. Thank you. Here are my references that I used in order to complete this project.